This is the Morning Goods with Madeline Woods on News Talk 1450 WOL, where information is power. You can always get in on the conversation, ask us questions, or just give us a comment. The number is 800-450-7876, or you can text us at 202-618-3981. So y'all know it is a Get Your Mind Right Monday. This is a time when we talk with experts, friends of the show about empowerment, inspiring things, upliftment that can help us live our best lives. And our guest this morning is Dr. Pamela Gurley. She's a speaker, entrepreneur, and author of I'm Not a Stereotype, I Am Her, H-E-R. It's a book about her personal journey to self-love and self-acceptance. And Pam, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
So you got to start at the very beginning and tell me, what is it about I'm Not a Stereotype, I Am H-E-R, I'm Her? What does that mean?
So her is derived from a poem. Her is a multitude of things.
Yeah.
But I Am Not a Stereotype really is about the journey of self-identity and how connected we are to our own identity. But when you live against stereotypical narratives, it shapes the way that you feel about yourself. And I felt the need to debunk those things and those myths about being a Black woman, being a multi-ethnic woman. I'm Mexican, Indian, and Black. And I just felt that we don't all fit the same stereotype, and we do not need to be boxed in.
Right.
And I needed to have a voice out there to to start changing the narrative about it.
Yeah, so what does H-E-R stand for? Obviously, it's her. What does it stand for?
Actually, it's not her, it's H-E-R, but there's a number of things.
Okay.
And when people read the book, it's a poem, actually.
Okay. So
and H-E-R, it means it's a hero among all things, and it's being, having energy and being reflective. You are a number of things. Mine just so happened to resonate with several H's, several E's, and several R's.
I love that. In the book, are you able to define yourself according to the H-E-R theory? Meaning me reading your book, will I find myself in there?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, definitely. I think we'll all find ourselves wrapped in H-E-R that will make us who we are. But also, you'll start to define your own H's, your own E's, and your own R's that jive with you.
I think it's so important that you even did this or wrote this book, because you talked about how you weren't going to allow people to put you in a box. You weren't going to allow people to define you or determine what your value, your worth, or who you are. We had a conversation on the show a few days ago about colorism and how Black men, the question or a caller called in and said, there's a problem with Black men because they have a specific type of woman that they want, and it's not a dark complected woman. It's only light-skinned or white. That whole basis of colorism is there. Why is colorism an issue in the Black community like this?
I wish I had an answer.
Yeah.
And so part of another reason why I felt it was important to write my book is I have nieces that are on all of the color spectrum.
Right.
Some of them are biracial, white and Black, and some of them are really dark skin. And I love my niece with her chocolate skin. I wanted her to love herself.
Yes.
And I wanted to put a message out there that no matter what shade you are, we are all the same. And I do mention the fact that a lot of our stereotypes come from our Black men. And if you ask a Black man, you probably had this discussion on the show, that if he would only date light-skinned women, or really if he dates outside his race, and date white women, and you ask why, he'll have all of these stereotypical characteristics of a Black woman. Oh, they're angry, they're bitter, they're all of these things, not realizing all women are. So no matter what shade you are, you're a woman. You have hormones, you have emotions, you have your own thoughts about how you see things. But I will tell you what makes Black women unique.
What is it?
We are the most resilient.
Oh, absolutely.
Of all races. And that makes us a target. I'm a firm believer in that no matter what color you are, we can make things happen.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, look at the vote.
Yes. we can make things happen.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't keep a black woman down but for so long, and even when she's down, she is strong.
Yeah. You talked about some of the labels and stereotypes that black men or the world itself puts on black women. But as a woman, how do you get beyond that and not allow it to affect the way that you carry yourself, the way that you feel about yourself, or just how you get up every morning? You know, I made the comment to the caller when she called in about it, and I said, you know something? I was never bothered by colorism. I'm the darkest one in my family, and I've been teased about being the darkest one or being that's the black one over there, you know, because that's a family dynamic and colorism exists. It never bothered me because you're not going to tell me who I am. You're not going to tell me what you like or you don't like about me because I really don't care. And then when it comes to men, because, you know, this is what she was talking about from this perspective, it didn't make a difference about whether a guy thought I was too dark or too tall or too short or too skinny or too fat or too thick or too whatever, because if that's where your mind was, I was going to self-select out anyway, and I don't want you. So yeah, I don't care if you want me. You know, how do we get women to that point to be able to rise above and say, you know what, I love me. I love everything about me. Everybody else may not love everything about me, but I do. How do we get there?
Acceptance, self-acceptance. I think there's such a strong basis behind self-acceptance, but I also think it will come from one another, our sisterhood.
Okay.
We need to learn to nurture outside of the colorism spectrum, to show love and not feel some kind of way. So if you walk past a dark-skinned woman, praise her. I love your skin color.
You look beautiful.
You look
girl.
beautiful. And it's terrible because it bothers me when I see extremely dark chocolate women start to bleach their skin to fit into some false narrative that's out there because they think that's what it is, as opposed to loving and embracing
their individuality.
I always call it being sun-kissed. I call it being sun-kissed. And, you know, even when you see my book, I have pictures in my book, and I grew up in Hawaii my first few years. My dad was in the military, and I was a sun baby. So I got so dark, and I loved it. I can't seem to get back to that shade now, no matter how much I lay out in the sun. But I love that shade of chocolate. And I wish every woman, no matter what color she is, dark skin or light skin, I think that self-love and finding that journey will get them where they need to be.
I love that. So you're saying that the validation has to come from the sisterhood first. Let's talk more about that when we get back. This is The Morning Goods with Madeline Woods on News Talk 1450 WOL. It's a Get Your Mind Right Monday. We're talking to Dr. Pamela Gurley. She is the author of I'm Not a Stereotype, I Am Her. And we'll hear more about that when we get back. So stay with us. Information is power. It's a Get Your Mind Right Monday. And we are tackling the problem of self-acceptance and self-love with Dr. Pamela Gurley. She's written a book called I Am Not a Stereotype, I Am Her. And Pam is giving us insight on what we need to do as a sisterhood to make Black women feel more validated, more valued, and just overall better about ourselves. We were talking about it from a perspective of colorism. Pam, pick it up there. Colorism is a problem. How do we as a sisterhood embrace each other and make us feel better about our looks, I guess it is?
So our looks, oh gosh, where do I even start with looks?
Well, just stick with
I think that,
colorism
that's what I'm saying, even with looks and how we are not embracing naturalness. You know, I hate that everything is tied to hair and makeup and body. We were born with bodies.
Hello.
And so the fact that women are looking at other women saying, I need to compete. You don't have to compete.
Right.
Love who you are. God don't make mistakes. I'll start with that. He doesn't make mistakes. And so we need to start reinforcing the need for naturalness. And by naturalness, it's not with all the fillers, not saying that you have to be validated with makeup, that you have to be validated with straight hair, that you have to have a wig, that natural is not beautiful. And that's, you know, we treat each other differently based on hair typing, skin typing, and we need to move away from that. We need to move away from that for one.
But how?
Because we all need to love each other. I mean, but first you have to love yourself. You have to, no one else can validate you. You have to validate yourself.
Yes. But that is the question again. How do we get to do that? And let me ask you this. So we're talking, it's almost like we're putting the onus on the sisterhood or the onus on yourself to be able to feel better about yourself. But doesn't that kind of excuse the world from bad behavior?
It does, but you can't control the world.
There you go.
You can only control you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the narrative that we need to get into, that if you change who you are and you love who you are, people start to make notice. In order to be the to make a change, you have to be the change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in order to be the change,
mm-hmm.
you have to initiate what you feel is right.
Mm-hmm. We say a lot of times on the show that change begins with you, and if you change yourself, you work on yourself, you'll start to notice that everything and everybody around you will change too.
That's correct.
And become more of what you want reflected back to you because of what you're reflecting out or projecting out. Now, here's another thing that, again, because I talk to a lot of young women, and I have a daughter, and I grew up as a woman. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. But I think the one thing that is so important is that you have to live in your own reality.
In your own truth.
In your own
Correct.
truth. And you got to realize that there's always going to be somebody who's prettier,
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's shapelier, somebody who's smarter, somebody who dresses better. There's always going to be that girl or woman who you feel like might have more than you. But that doesn't mean that you can't be happy and satisfied with what you got, because you got something, all of us, that the other person does not have.
Oh, yeah, but I also feel like, to me,
Mm-hmm.
there's no one prettier. There's no one better.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is the mind that we need to change.
Yeah.
Because according to who?
According to who?
So if it's according to me and
Uh-huh.
how I value myself, I don't care how you look.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter to me what you have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm validated.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so
good.
what makes someone prettier than you?
Mhm.
It goes back to God does not make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You're just unique. You're unique in how you look. And when you are your authentic self,
Mhm.
and you are really you, it does not matter
So you don't
what anyone else thinks.
Because you're not even taking the time to make the comparison.
Correct.
There
Because
you
you
go.
can't compare.
You see how you work this through
That's
that?
right. You can't
I love that.
compare the difference between you and another woman.
Uh-huh.
It's purposeless.
It's purposeless.
It's purposeless because you are your own unique person. And if
Yeah.
it was meant for all of us to look alike,
Mhm.
God would have made us all the same.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth right there. Let's talk about the outside forces that we're battling every day, though. Again, we have this, the negative talk from Black men and other people in this world who talk against Black women or talk about individuals and make them not feel as good as someone else. And then we've got all of these stereotypical images out here. We've got, reality TV shows, and we've got the videos. And can you just address that for us? What is your position on that? What do you think about all these labels that arise out of the outside societal noise that's impacting us?
So I was sharing with you earlier, I have a chapter called Black Girl Magic
Mhm.
versus Black Girl Failure.
Yeah.
When we cannot be our authentic self, and I know I hear people say, oh, I can twerk if I want to, and this is fine because this is what I want to. You really have to do that deep dive and say, what attention am I really trying to get?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to go out your way that far. And if twerking is the only thing that you know how to do, get another hobby because it's not cute. And when you realize that when you are in a position where people, young girls especially, are looking at you as a role model, and so in their mind that they are going to think, oh, this is what it takes. And so that's not Black Girl Magic when you are a role model and you are in the limelight, and this is what women are thinking, that, or young girls are thinking, that being catty is cute, that half dressing is cute, that shaking your behind is cute. It's not really that cute. And so we have to learn to realize what we're putting out there. I always say the way we feed into our community is what is fed outside of our community.
Yeah.
And so we have to change how we're feeding our community, and our young girls are coming up in our community seeing these different things. If we want to say we are Black Girl Magic, we need to have some more magic.
Well, I think it also comes down to being multifaceted, because a lot of people are making careers by twerking and half dressing, and we can even be real and call them out. Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B. These are highly successful women who have made a career out of these so-called negative stereotypes, but they're also multifaceted. Don't let that be the only thing that
Correct.
you're known for or that you can do. You
So
know what I mean?
performing is one thing. I always
There
say
you go. Yep.
when you're on a stage and you're
Mhm.
performing and you're wearing a specific outfit made, you're performing.
Mhm.
But if that's your everyday life and that's the only thing and the only image that somebody has of you,
Of
so
you.
outside of that, you're at home, you're in public places
Mhm.
doing these things, and it's not a part of your job,
Mhm.
but you made it a part of your image.
Mm.
I will say this: if you look at Beyonce's image off the stage,
That's right.
she carries herself
Class.
Very
dignity.
classy.
Yes. Yes.
So not
And that's
everybody.
What I mean about being multifaceted.
Correct, not everybody.
multifaceted. This is the Morning Goods with Madeline Woods on News Talk 1450 WOL, where information is power. We're talking to Dr. Pamela Gurley. I am not a stereotype. I am her. That's the book that she's written on her personal journey to self-love and self-acceptance. It's a Get Your Mind Right Monday. We're back with more in just a sec, so stay there. With Madeline Woods on News Talk 1450 WOL, where information is power. It's a Get Your Mind Right Monday. And we were talking about you taking a personal journey to self-love and self-acceptance. Our guest is Dr. Pamela Gurley. She's written a book called I'm Not a Stereotype, I Am Her. And we've been talking, Pam, about what it means to have self-acceptance and to love yourself and to develop this power and the strength within. But talk to me about this imposter syndrome. What is that?
So imposter syndrome is where it's a feeling of inadequacy that no matter how successful you are, and there's evidence of that success, you can be a millionaire, you can have 8 degrees,
Yeah.
but something inside still makes you feel like it's
don't
not
measure
enough.
up.
Yeah, and that you don't measure up.
Yeah.
And so, it's so weird that now and again, and I'll be honest, I'm very authentic in the fact that, when I'm going out different places or I'm doing different things, sometimes I still battle that. But I'm acknowledgeable of that I have to stop and pause and give myself these positive affirmations that I'm worthy, that I'm good enough. I earned where I'm at.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we get it because other people don't value us the same way we value us. And so we always sometimes take a step back and say, am I really worthy? Am I really this? Did I really earn this? Did I, how can I be better? How can I do better? But it still goes back to grabbing hold of that validation for self. And we want to make sure that we are validated internally because we shouldn't care how someone else validates. It's like one of those clap for your own self.
Right. And I love how you talk about that in the book. Again, the book is called I Am Not a Stereotype, I Am Her, H-E-R, and H-E-R is kind of like an acronym for all the wonderful things about yourself and how important it is to feel that way, because we, as Black women, we have so many things working against us. We have the stereotypes in the media. We have the competition between each other. It's so many things. Why do you think it's important for Black women to create boundaries for themselves, to keep people from hurting their feelings, to keep people from making them feel that they're inadequate or not enough? And then how do you go about creating these boundaries?
Okay, so I have a term what I call boundarize, and it's about your energy. And I think I feel, and I actually know from personal experience that the same energy that radiates out of you radiates in you. So if you are accepting negative energy in any form, whether it's from your social media, your friends, what you allow to come in, eventually that pours back out.
Yeah.
Even in the smallest ways. If you have a friend that constantly flocks to you and complaining all the time, and there's never anything good, there's a reason why they're coming to you.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to to boundarize and put those boundaries up to say, okay, be honest with them. If the only time that you can make a phone call to me or come and talk to me, or the only discussions we are having is something negative, you need to figure out how to let them know that's not the energy that I want for myself. And you need to correct those things. I'm also a firm believer that when people come and talk to you, they already know the answers. They're looking for that validation.
Yes.
So when people say, I need some advice, no, you want somebody to tell you what you already know.
Right, or to agree
with you to make it right. And that's not real friendship to me. I feel like I'm going to give it to you raw, whether you want to hear it or not, because you should never be the kind of friend that's going to tell somebody what they want to hear, as opposed to getting them healthy mentally and to push them to take care of themselves and just say, Get yourself right.
Yeah. The book, I love it because it's so honest and it's so open about your journey to try to achieve self-love, self-acceptance. And I think that people reading it sometimes can feel like, wow, this isn't just happening to me. And that's why I think books like this are so important. And even the learnings that you share within the book. I want to talk a little bit about this again, because you talked about how the sisterhood, we have to do a better job of embracing each other as Black women, coming together, loving on each other, complimenting each other. And we talked about how change starts with you. You know, you change the way you think about yourself. You change the way that you feel about yourself. And you'll notice that the people and the things around you will change as well. And I'm a firm believer in that. But still, there's this society out there that works at, picking at us and picking us apart. How can we get society to change the narrative of how Black women are viewed? We are not always angry. We are not too dark. We are not too loud. We are not too whatever they try to put on us. What is it that we need to do to be able to help them see us differently, or to make them, not even help them see us differently, to make them stop that abuse that they're putting on us?
To be the change that you want to see.
Comes right back to that.
It does. You know what? When I'll give an example. When I first went natural, and when my hair was straight, a lot of people would talk to me. You know, from the train, just friendly, really friendly in ways.
Really?
Yes. And when I went natural, it changed. And I recognized the change where most people would walk by. It was almost as if it's an intimidation, and my hair is really curly.
Yeah.
But it didn't make a difference. Either that, or they'll say, "Can I touch your hair?" Which I still think is insulting.
It is insulting.
But what I refused to do, even though I felt a way about myself, because it was a journey. It was a journey for me. So I had emotional issues with going natural. But I said to myself, what I refuse to do is get braids. I went a whole summer having to relearn how to love myself with the way that I look, because it's not something that's really out there a lot. You see it a lot, but you see more wig wearing and I have braids now because it's cold. But I wanted to, no matter how I felt about myself, I think it was important for me to find that love. And I also said that if I want somebody to accept me for how I look, I'm going to stay this way. And you don't have a choice, because it became more about me and less about them. And because I said, if you want to treat me that way, I'm fine, but you're going to learn to love me like this. And so eventually, I guess the same people that, you do the same commute, you see the same people, eventually that turned, because they had no choice but to get used to what they were seeing now. So we have to model that same behavior, that if we want to make that change, you have to be consistent about the change that you want to see for yourself. Eventually, people will get used to that, and they will catch up. And so we have to, goes back to validation for yourself, making changes that's positive for yourself, and not want to fit into a false narrative of what
you should
outside people think we are.
Because
again, it goes back to how we feed in our community is what radiates outside of our community. Then we can hopefully learn to build the same sisterhood and relationships that other races and cultures have that we don't.
Okay. All right, Pam. Good gracious, girl. This is Dr. Pamela Gurley, speaker, entrepreneur, and author of I'm Not a Stereotype, I Am Her. That's her book that she wrote about her personal journey to self-love and self-acceptance. I thank you so much for coming in here, Pam.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, girl. It was beautiful. I think it's things that we all needed to hear. And it's so important to hear us talk about these things over and over so that we can get out of being uncomfortable with things and